Now, the Forestry Commission says it has begun investigating the latest incident at the Accra Zoo in which a man is allegedly devoured by a lion. According to a statement issued by the Commission, the deceased is suspected to have scaled the lion's cage in an attempt to steal a cub. Patrol guard later discovered his decapitated body by the lion in the cage. My colleague Michael Ashley visited the zoo yesterday and filed this report.
It never bit or it never ate him any part of his body.
The lifeless body of a man believed to be middle-aged at the back of an ambulance at the Achimota Zoo. He was discovered by guards at the zoo with his throat in the jaws of a lion. He is believed to have jumped over 2 fences, a 10-foot and 20-foot tall fences, to reach the lion's den. CEO of the Forestry Commission, John Alote, explained.
Yes, around midday today, one of our assistant managers on his normal tour of the zoo around the enclosure where we have the lions noticed that someone has entered the enclosure, male, and then he was being held by the neck by one of the lions, the male lion. He quickly informed his superiors and the case was reported to the Achimota police.
The zoo houses 2 lions, a male and a female, with 2 cubs that are less than a year old. Although the intention of the intruder is not yet known, it is believed he was there to steal one of the cubs. Here is Deputy Land Minister Benito Owusubio.
If you look up here, you see that that place has been tampered with. That's where the person scaled and went in. The advice is that these lions are in their cages. They are in their fence. They are just resting. Why would somebody come and try to enter, scale the fence and go inside to do what? If you are going for the cubs, the lioness and the male will protect their cubs. So please, this is a warning to people who have other intentions and ulterior motives.
Benito Owusubio also dispelled rumors the animal had escaped their hold and were roaming free in the forest.
The lions are safe. They are here. There's no animal or lion prowling around the Achimota area. Everyone should go on with his activities or duties without any fear or panic.
The police was at the scene to ensure calm had been restored. The body has since been deposited at the morgue. For JoyNews, Michael Ashley.
Now let's take you live to the Accra Zoo for more, where my colleague Papani Ashley is back there this morning to have a sense of how the zoo is and safety at large. Papani, what can you report?
Entire Achimota Forest. The entrance that you see behind me gives access to what's supposed to be the only recognized entrance into the entire forest, where the Achimota Zoo, or the Accra Zoo people also call, is also located here. So it's business as usual at the entrance, especially for people who come here for refuge, especially to pray. You can see this particular poster here, or this particular that says that the Echo Park Prayer Enclave. So this Achimota Forest also serves as an enclave for those who are hoping for some solitude, some quietness to pray to their deity. So the entrance here, you see people teeming here in queue, waiting their turn to pay. I understand that they have to pay to get access to the forest here. So that's what you have, people in queue, even vehicles getting entrance into the forest, many of whom I understand are going to pray here. But the zoo, I understand, is off limits, is not available to the public now. The Forestry Commission, what we hear from them is that per the notice that they've gotten from the police, the place has to be cordoned off for police investigations to commence as soon as possible. again, what we know is that the identity of the gentleman involved, the victim, is yet to also be unraveled as it stands now. So again, a lot more people here, some of whom even are renting chairs. I get renting chairs to help them with their prayer sessions at the place here. They have to pay a token and get a cheat, then they are allowed. So that should give you a sense of the protocol again when you are getting access into the forest and again to the zoo. So you need first to go through this process of taking a cheat, then you go to the zoo. Daddy, what is that here to do? You are going to the zoo? You are coming to?
We are coming to pray.
You are coming to pray. Yeah. But yesterday we heard that there was a lion, or there was a gentleman that has managed to get into the lion's den and has been devoured. You are not concerned?
Yeah, I'm really concerned, but where the zoo is far away from where the prayer comes in.
Yeah. But I mean, you should be. Why not?
I've been here for so many years, so I can say this is the first time that this has happened. So we are not afraid of it because, as I said, the zoo is far away from here, from where we are praying. So we are not afraid.
Why is praying in the Achimota forest so important to you?
Oh, you can pray anywhere in your room, wherever, but it's a gathering. We have pastors that I'm a pastor also, so I have my senior pastor that so many people used to come here. There's no different from praying at Achimota forest and in your house or in your churches. Just that it has been a norm since some years ago, so that's why we are coming to.
What if we said that, well, for today, nobody should get access to the zoo, to the forest, because of incidents like where people could just get into places that we don't expect them to be?
Nothing will happen because in the COVID era, we stayed at home for almost 2 years without coming here. So we will pray in our churches and in our homes.
What's your name?
My name is Budu Sam. Budu Sam.
Okay, sure. Sam, thank you very much. And all the best with your prayers here. So Budu Sam is one of many people that are still coming to the Achimota forest. Although news like this, quite strange, bizarre, and odd, but also prefer to pray at the forest. He tells me it's something new, though. This is the first time he's hearing this since he came here. But should there be a ban on services in the forest here, well, he would be okay with it, although that he still prefers to pray in the forest here. So this particular stretch of road you see now here leads all the way to the zoo. I understand it's about 1 kilometer from where we stand all the way to the zoo in itself. So the forest in its entirety is not the entire zoo, but from here you drive all the way. If you have a vehicle like it's heading now, you can. It's about 5 minutes drive, I have been told. That will be the process here. We'll be going to check out the zoo and what really it is. What we are gathering here, Brace, again, is that the zoo is supposed to be cordoned off under the direction of the Ghana Police Service for investigations to commence into the incident that happened there some hours ago.
Papani, if you can hear me, does it look, wanted to find out from Papani whether this is the only entrance, or there are some unapproved route through which people have access to the zoo, by which, of course, this deceased may have gained entry to the zoo?
So there are a few official entrances into the Achimota forest and to the zoo, but this one is, say, the biggest or the official one that we have here. But again, if you take a very critical look around, if you drive around the Achimota forest, there are wire meshes that are supposed to prevent people from getting unauthorized entry into the zoo. But the little checks I've done this morning as well shows that there are many footpaths there that only shows that people may be getting access into the zoo without necessarily having to come through the checkpoint where they will be booked and probably also counted, so that at the end of the day, we know how many people are supposed to come out of the zoo.
All right, thank you very much. So that's my colleague Papani Ashele there. Stay with us. We'll be bringing you more update from the Achimota Forest. Also joining us on this subject, live on Zoom, is the Executive Director of the Ghana Wildlife Society, Mr. David Kepley, for a conversation on the development. Many thanks for your time, sir. This incident is a common scenario in zoos. All right, we'll try and establish contact with him so we can have a conversation with him to understand whether or not this is a common scenario and all of that. Moving on to other stories. Lecturer at the School of Communication Studies, Professor Audrey Gajepo says the chieftaincy institution has not come to terms with upholding the ideals of democracy. Speaking on the AM show, Professor Audrey Gajepo said, like all other institutions, the chieftaincy institution is not above criticism and they should not be seen to be overstepping their bounds in the democratic regime.
Our democratic right as citizens says that we can express ourselves so long as we don't libel people, so long as we don't slander people. We can criticize even authority. The chieftaincy institution is an authority, but so are our government. So we can criticize our politicians, we can hold them accountable without fear of being sanctioned for doing that, without fear of intimidation. However, because I think that, in my opinion, a lot of the chiefs have not lived up to the democratic ideal. Their conception of democracy has been limited in the sense that they're enjoying the dividends of democracy, of course, but then when it comes to certain aspects of democracy that is tough, like criticizing a chief who you think is gone out of bounds, or the institution, then or doing something within a jurisdiction that they don't like, then they overstep their powers. So closing down a radio station or even telling a radio station, you cannot say this about me when what they're saying is not illegal, becomes a problem in the democratic society. You know, banishing people. We are in a constitutional democracy. We've had to banish people from their jurisdiction. Meanwhile, our constitution says there should be freedom of movement. Right. And we've sat by and listened to chiefs issue bans on citizens because their behaviors are seen as unacceptable.
Meanwhile, monarchical historian at the Mencha Palace, Osebonsu Safo Kantanka, has accused Akwesi Adai, popularly known as Odike, of staging the attack at his office.
I strongly believe that Odike staged a drama. So he's the first suspect.
Please clarify. Are you saying he staged the attack?
Sure, I'm confident until it has been proven that he did not stage a drama. It is a drama.
Mr. Kantanka, Safo Kantanka, I want to understand this clearly. You see the footage there of his party office vandalized, bullets going through cars. In fact, one of his men was hit by a stray bullet with these, young thugs attacking the premises, chanting, looking for him. And you say you think it was staged.
Yes, I think so. I think it was staged, and Odike could easily do that.
But based on what would you make this assertion?
It should be the first suspect. When somebody reports a case, you do not take it just because he has reported. He himself is a suspect.
Now, let's still stay with this subject and take you live to Kumasi with an update on this development. My colleague Nana Yaojima joins us through Zoom. Nana, when are the Oyerepa FM management and Odike, if possible, meeting the chiefs?
Before midday, the management of Oyerepa FM will make a second appearance at the Kumasi Traditional Council meeting. So we are expecting that the management and the people who are complicit in this issue will all be there. And the information that I'm picking is that the management will go with some people who know the Ashanti traditional system very well to help them plead on their behalf. And for the together is that traditional authority at where Mr. Odike hails from yesterday called the family of Odike concerning this issue, and the traditional authority made it clear to them that Mr. Odike has to be at the palace today. But so far, we've not heard from Mr. Odike. The last time Mr. Odike spoke in public, he said that before he can make an appearance at the Menchia Palace, a tradition that was made to banish him from the palace will have to be reversed, because the tradition will regard him as a non-entity. Therefore, before he can come back to meet the Kumasi Traditional Council at the Menchia Palace, this punishment will have to be reversed, and that has not been done yet. So it is uncertain whether Mr. Akwesi, beyond what he said earlier, will make an appearance at the Menchia Palace. But it is certain that in few minutes from now, the management of Oyempa FM will be at the Menchia Palace with a traditional leader or an authority in the traditional system to plead on their behalf and see if the chiefs they will forgive them and make them go back and operate their business.
Will I be right to assume that the station is still shut down?
Exactly. This morning, when you tune into the frequency, the station remains shut. They are not operating. Since Friday, the station hasn't opened. It's been the airspace has been blank.
Have we had any intelligence on the whereabouts of Odike himself?
The last time I had contact with Mr. Odike, he said that he's still in hiding. He has gone into hiding because he believes that after the attack, there are a number of people the people who tried attacking him could come back for him. So for the sake of his life, he had to go into hiding. So that was the last information about his whereabouts when I tried finding out from him. So that is what we have now. If things have changed so far, we are not updated on that.
Thank you so much for the information. Let me now take you back to the Achimota story, where we understand a middle-aged man has been devoured by a lion there. Let's speak to the executive director of the Ghana Wildlife Society, Mr. David Pele, for a conversation on this development. Many thanks to you, sir, for joining us. Is this incident a common scenario in zoos? Hello, Mr. Pele. Can you hear me, sir?
Can you hear me?
Great. Yeah, I can hear you now. So I wanted to find out from you how common this scenario is in zoos.
Yeah, such an incident is a rare scenario in zoos, in that, as you can see, the zoos are a security zone with well-fenced area that keep the animals away from human contact. So it is a very rare incident, and this one is an exceptional situation. The zoos have staff who patrol the area, and so you realize that when the incident happened, it was one of the staff who noticed it because he was on normal patrol. But it is a situation where this person must have sneaked in and hidden inside the bush somewhere and waiting for the security man to move on and pass on before he could launch his intentions. So, and as you can see from the fence, he probably attempted to jump into the fence. And the person is either attempting to steal the corpse, he's a lunatic, or he was just trying to commit suicide. So this is an abnormal situation that we don't think need to just take it that it's a general thing that happens in zoos. No.
What should a first-timer know about safety at a zoo?
the first timer should first call at the visitor center. He'll be briefed on the entire operations of the zoo. And a first timer should not venture all by himself to any part of the zoo without a guide. So that is what the first timer should know, that he should first call at the visitor center, where he will be received and briefed on all the safety precautions, the animals that are there, and be given the necessary guidance. So that is the first thing that any visitor to the zoo should do.
Are there any precautions one must consider when visiting the zoo, like what we have here?
When visiting the zoo, one thing you should know is that they are wild animals, and you don't dare to go beyond the limit where the security and the staff show you. If you look at the fence around the lion, there is a first fence of defense that is actually holding the lion, and a second fence that is supposed to keep the people away from the main fence. So you will be educated on all these precautions, where to pass and not to get into contact with the animals, where to stand and be given the necessary interpretation so that you understand and you observe the animals from a distance. These are some of the conditions that have been put in place, and any of the staff that is mandated to take staff and visitors around will inform you about the necessary precautions in the zoo.
With what we've seen, that yes, possibly we've seen that someone tampered with the fence there. How are we able to conclude that it is this person who intruded all by himself and not someone probably covering a crime by coming to dump a dead person in there?
As well, what you are saying are options, but it will be very. You would have realized that the corpse, as it is, if it were a dead person who was dumped there, the lion will just go and smell it. And then, but you realize there has been a conflict. There has been an attack. So, and that's why the lion did not devour the corpse. He probably crushed it and then left it there. The lion knows who an intruder is. For example, the lion knows the staff who come there to feed it and to take care of it. So if an intruder comes into the cage, they obviously know that this is somebody who is going beyond his limits. And they obviously, once the young cubs are around, they are on the alert to defend their cubs. And therefore, they will not give you the least opportunity to be in their presence.
But Mr. Kwele, like you said, if it was a dead person, they would have they wouldn't have devoured it. But we understand this one has been devoured. So really, can we still say, conclude on the fact that it was just an intruder?
When we say devour, there would have been a struggle. Okay. So there has been a beaten, parts torn off, and of course the lion tried to kill the person. That is what happened. Okay. But if it was a flesh that it was eating, it would have taken time to just eat the flesh. The human being is not food for the lion. And everybody, the human flesh is not food for the lion. And the lion is selective. It's not all meat that it will just go for. If it were something that it would have eaten and just left the bones. Okay. But because it was somebody who just jumped over, that's why they attacked and made sure that the person was dead. That was the intention of the lion, to defend the rest of particularly the cubs, the young ones, and then the female lions. Okay. So we are confident that the fellow probably entered to steal the young ones or to commit suicide, or but we will not rule out. We will not want to say that somebody attempted to dump a dead corpse into the zoo, and that is why. Yeah.
Now, I presume you've been to the Accra Zoo yourself. Is that right?
I go very well, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
What do you make of the security and safety in place at the facility?
I must say that the security is good. We took time to inspect and to put in the fence and to make sure that the lions are secure. And when people are coming to be conducted around, for security, we shouldn't be afraid and take this single incident as a sign of insecurity. We want to assure the general public that the zoo is a secure place. The fence that have been put around are okay. It's abnormal for a lion or to want to break the fence and come out. So we want to assure the general public that the zoo is secure. This is just a single one-off incident that we don't think that should let people think that the place is insecure. No.
Do you think something more should be done to improve security and safety? For example, people are asking, do we have CCTV cameras around that could help us even identify what really happened? So to you, what else do you think can be done to improve security and safety at the facility?
Obviously, the use of technology will improve the situation. CCTV definitely is something that we welcome if we have the funds. Also, increasing the number of staff patrolling the area will also be something that we can consider. So yes, all those are measures that we need to enhance in order to enhance the security. But for now, we want to say that this is just a single incident that we need to just, we will look at the issues and then see how best we can help the Wildlife Division to improve upon the security.
Thank you so much, David Pele is the Executive Director of the Ghana Wildlife Society. You're still watching the Joy News desk. Now, let's now go to Mpabame, where the youth there are protesting bad roads. Emmanuel Bright Kweku joins us on phone with the latest from that community. Emmanuel, what can you tell us is the situation in Mpabame?
It's been a
Emma, if you can hear me, I'm asking for you to give us what's happening in the community now.
So, Kojo, here at Mpabame, there is currently heavy police deployment over here to ensure there is free traffic to within the community. In the sense that since this morning, about 7 a.m., the residents in this area blocked the route in this area. The route is normally used by people or the road users from Obuasi to Masi. It's an alternative route for these drivers. It's relatively shorter. So they block the road, insisting that no vehicle passes or uses this particular stretch of the road. They are demanding that the government comes to fix their road. Let me give you a sense of how the road network is like. When it comes to Sokoban in the Ashanti region, there is a dual carriage road on this particular stretch. The contractor managed to construct a dual carriage road, but once you get to the Sokoban community, the road is left as a single lane. We are told by authorities that the road is due for construction, but because these residents along the stretch have not been compensated so that they demolish their road for construction work to begin, nothing has been done. The road looks deplorable. It's muddy, and the asphalt on this particular stretch is deteriorating. So that is the sense of the road network in this particular stretch. So they block the road from this dual carriage side of the community, and to the other end, even other alternative routes within the community, they blocked it, not giving access to a particular road user. An ambulance came seeking access, but they didn't give it to them. They didn't give access to this ambulance. So the ambulance had to turn and use alternative routes, a relatively longer route. And also the police have managed. The police kind of convinced this because they allowed the free traffic flow as of now. So as of now, there is easy traffic here. There is free traffic flow within this community.
All right, thank you very much, Emmanuel Bright-Cook. We'll still stay on this story, so stay with us for all the update from that community. Now, the Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development continues to roll out measures to help Ghana deal with its depleting fish stock. The European Union, leading the fight against illegal, unreported and unregulated fishing worldwide, about 2 years ago issued a warning, a yellow card to Ghana that it risks being identified as a non-cooperating country in the fight against illegal, unreported and unregulated fishing. The shortcomings that earned Ghana the yellow card included illegal transshipment at sea of large quantities of undersized juvenile pelagic species. In our latest hotline documentary titled When the Last Fish is Caught, Richard Kojo investigates how Ghana is dealing with the issue of IUU. A excerpt of the documentary produced by Richard Kojo.
It's a chain work. We brought this bycatch from Marie. It's not frozen, just fresh. But the moment we brought it at ashore, it gets to rot. So we peel today. Those who will throw it away, the vessel owners, then they start freezing it to us. And this have created a lot of employment. Rather throwing it into the sea as waste or to pollute the sea. That's why it has created, we have brought it and it has created a lot of job. And cycle is not purposely for Elmines. It's for the whole Ghana.
Justice Pry used to be in the cycle business. He sits on one of the canoes here at the landing bay at Elmina. Many thoughts about the collapsed cycle business flash his mind. The 54-year-old doesn't understand why his trade has been banned.
So unexpected, we have been bound not to go. So all these fish are being thrown into the sea, make so many people jobless. And for a time as today, about 10 months now, in fact, people are suffering.
Even though the Ministry of Fisheries has banned cycle, the illegal transshipment of fish at sea, the fisherfolk continue to agitate.
The fisherfolk say that the cycle has not really ended, even though they agree with the ministry that it's ended at the places, the cycle markets, but it has manifested in a different form. If you go to Tema, they say that they are landing the small pelagic that artisanal fishers are supposed to catch. And this to them is like robbing Peter to pay Paul.
At first, we believed that the Chinese relied on the larger fish, but today they compete with us for the smaller fish that we rely on.
Ifua Frama is a fishmonger here at Abazi, one of the fishing communities in the central region. She recounts vividly how the trawlers continue to land the fish that were once caught by the artisanal fishers. President of the Canoe and Gear Owners Association of Ghana, Nana Kojo, raises a similar concern about the cycle ban.
It has taken us so many years advocating for the Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development and the Fisheries Commission to enforce the law and stop the illegal transshipment at sea.
Even though he's been full of praise for the minister over the sanity she's brought to the sector, the landings at the Tema port continue to worry him.
Now, the full documentary airs at 8:30 p.m. today on a JoyNews channel. Moving on to other stories. The Center for Climate Change and for Security is asking for the National Biosafety Agency to make full disclosure of the processes leading to the granting of permission to the Savannah Agricultural Research Institute to release genetically modified cowpea onto the Ghanaian market. According to them, certain pertinent issues regarding the processes associated with the grant have been shrouded in secrecy. These were contained in a press release by the Center for Climate Change and for Security. But why are they making these accusations? The Director of Research for the Center, Suleimana Isifo, joins us live on Zoom now. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. Why are you making this call at this time when the processes have been ongoing for years now?
Thank you very much. Yes, we know the processes have been ongoing, and the processes could not have been impeded, because if you read the Biosafety Act, it empowers the National Biosafety Authority to call for public inputs. Now the National Biosafety Authority called for public inputs just in February, that's 28th February 2022. And then in July, they grant permission for the environmental release of the GM cowpea. So it tells you that while the process have been ongoing, the processes have largely been based on the applicant's own internal assessment. So the SARAI assessments were ongoing in terms of what kind of studies they were doing. But the public were only invited on 28th of February by the NBA, the National Biosafety Authority. And this is the only time that we are allowed to make inputs. And we made inputs and puts before the NBA specific demands. The NBA is telling us after just barely 6 months that they've granted permission for the release of these environmental release of the GM cowpeas without recourse to the request that we made. It appears that the NBA is solely basing its assessment on what the applicants provided the NBA. Where is the technical report, the technical assessment report of the NBA itself? This is what we have been requesting for, and we have not been granted this. And for us, a cursory look at even the information provided by the applicants themselves is a source of worry. They provide very chilling details of certain things which, in our view as scientists, are not representative of what truly could be the potential impact of these GM cowpeas. So we are calling, or we are making this a call at this time just because the time that was permitted for us to make these inputs were largely hinged on what the NBA itself did, as I mentioned, in February. So this is why we are making the call at this time.
Well, what are these details that you are describing as chilling? What are
for example, we noticed that if you look at the application data provided by the applicants, they mention the concentrations of particular toxin known as the Cry1A toxin. It's a toxin that is produced when the genes of, because I don't want to go into the technical details, but what is happening is that this toxin is the highest we've seen so far in all transgenic plants. And transgenic plants are plants that are modified genetically. And when we look at data on genetic modifications of other plants, we have them telling us that they have over about 22 microgram per gram. So 22 microgram per gram of this toxin is what they found in the plants that are to be released environmentally. And if you look at how they gloss over this chilling information, it's quite alarming, and we are surprised that the NBA doesn't take this seriously. If you compare the data, look at other transgenic plants, you'll see that what is going to be released, and this is just how do I call it? It's a preliminary finding, because we don't know the long-term effect of the concentration of this toxin that I've mentioned. So this is one of the chilling things that we've seen. And we also see that when you look at the discussions as provided by the applicants on the potential environmental effects of the GM plants, they have been largely under discussed. For example, what is the implication for beneficial soil microorganisms? This is not mentioned in the application. And also when discussing other beneficial organisms like pollinators, they fail to rein in other pollinators that are known. So they just use a few pollinators as sentinel or as a small case to generalize and say that the crops necessarily may not have implications for the other pollinators. And what is very important and instructive for everybody to note is that there are some of the information provided by the applicants which they themselves did not do the assessment. They relied on other studies. Yes, we are scientists. We know you could rely on other studies. But we also, as scientists, know that context, environment, and other abiotic factors could change a lot of things. So if you rely on information that is provided, let's say, in an European trial, to make a conclusion on a trial that is being made in Ghana, you are making a big mistake. And this is one of the mistakes that we've seen in the applicants' data that they provided to the NBA. That's why we were calling for the NBA to provide us its own independent risk assessment report so that we can see whether the data provided by the applicants are corroborated by science or not.
Suleiman Isifo, I'm grateful for joining us with this discussion. I'm sure this discussion will be going on for some days now. He is the Director of Research at the Center for Climate Change and Food Security. We'll take a quick break. When we return, we'll bring you latest from the world of business. Stay with us.
Hello, welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwa. It was 5 days of big sales and big discounts for patrons and exhibitors at the 2022 EcoBank JoyNews Habitat Fair, which left many calling for more days. Speaking at a seminar to climax the event, head of Advantage Banking at EcoBank, Winston Wobble, said whether a mortgage or funding your own housing project, this is the time to do it as the cost of building materials continue to increase. Maxwell Gwagba has more from the Accra International Conference Center.
It has been 5 days of excitement, discounts, affordability, innovation, and more here at the foyer of the Accra International Conference Center. We transformed the structure into a one-stop shop for everything housing. Our exhibitors are happy, our patrons are equally happy. The EcoBank JoyNews Habitat Fair truly lived up to expectation as a one-stop shop for everything housing. Some patrons who had no idea of how to get their dream of owning a home off the ground left with a clear plan on what they want to do. For some of our patrons, they want the event more than once a year.
Very excited. That's what I'm saying. Everything that you need instead of roaming in town and burning fuel that is difficult to get these days, then it's better you come here, and everything you need about a home, you can find it here.
For me as well, and I'm currently not around. I just came in. It is an option for me because it gives you that flexibility.
Good, it's good. I mean, you can't go wrong with multimedia organizing. The Habitat Fair has been good over the years, so it's good. I mean, it's good. Yeah.
I'm very, very pleased with what I see. Yeah, I've even seen something I never expected to see. A price here that I wasn't expected to see.
Our exhibitors are particularly happy about the opportunity provided them to connect with patrons. They say they want it again, and again.
The testimonies from our exhibitors are unending.
We anticipate to participate in the other ones that may be coming up. Security officer called us. She's interested in the product. She's suffering, the structure is suffering from dampness. And hearing the information, the interview I granted on Joy Prime and Joy News, she called me and she said anytime she gets to Accra, she will get in touch with Boko. And some call from Takrady with the same problem. Yes, so they want new Mafes to come to Takrady. Some call from Yeji. Some call from Yeji. So out of the interview granted, we are getting the calls.
Marketing manager for Lakeside Estate, Isaac Ntiamwa, says there was never a dull moment at the fair.
And for this year, the patronage has been good so far from Wednesday all the way to Sunday, even though there's been a little rains. But for now, with our records, we already having people going to the site already for viewing. In terms of numbers, it's been great. It's been great from the Wednesday. I mean, this is the first time ever I've experienced fair, Habitat Fair for the first time, Wednesday being a very hot day, having people coming all the way from their offices.
The EcoBank JoyNews Habitat Fair is not just an assembly of leading players in the housing industry. It has also become a big learning platform for university students. Here are some of them from the Department of Interior Design and Upholstery Technology at the Accra Technical University.
The fair is basically about what we do in the classroom. But in the class, we do only theory things. So we brought them here to look at what practically goes on.
For the first time, I've come out to see things related to my course, interior design, and
It's so impressive.
Speaking at a seminar to climax the 13th edition of the 2022 EcoBank JoyNews Habitat Fair, head of Advantage Banking at EcoBank Ghana, Winston Wobbles, said it is possible to own a home in this period of worsening economic conditions.
So if you ask to take a mortgage or to buy your own piece of land and then start something small, the advice is if you can afford a mortgage, you are better off taking it up front. And we know, as it's been said, exchange rates are going up. Fortunately or unfortunately, you have a lot of our developers pricing in dollars. And then cost of goods and services are also rising. So you are better off taking a mortgage now, knowing that the value of the property you have acquired is X amount, and then you are paying interest on it, than to wait a year later. Only God knows. We pray it doesn't happen, but only God knows what could happen, say, in the next 6 months or even in the next few days. Possibly the exchange rate might come down or it could go up. If it comes down, all the better for all of us. If it doesn't, or even if it stays at this, imagine if you had the opportunity to take a mortgage of, say, $100,000 last year, and you deferred it till now. You are paying close to about 40% or more of what you could have paid last year. So if you can afford a mortgage, do it now. If you cannot afford a mortgage and you need to start something on your own, still do it now.
General Manager of Sales and Marketing at the Multimedia Group Limited, David Masfuga, says the fair was successful.
Even though we are closing the chapter on our craft fair today with this seminar, I look forward to welcome you to the Kumasi edition, which starts on September 30th and ends on 2nd of October.
Exhibitors were presented with certificates of participation.
Well, if you missed the Accra edition, there's a Kumasi edition next month, so be on the watch out. That's business. Sports is coming up next.
Well, it's time for sports now, and Muftau Nabila joins me in studio with the latest from that world. Hi, Muftau, how are you?
Hi, Brace. How are you doing too?
I am well.
You know what? We're just a couple of months away to the Africa Games 2023. Okay. But it appears Ghana is behind schedule.
Oh.
Joy Sports have stored the facilities that the country is supposed to put together for the Africa Games 2023. And they are still at the ground level. Ghana secured the rights to host the multi-sport event. That was in 2018. But unfortunately, at this point, it's still at the ground level because of money. You know, that's our biggest problem. So what we understand is that the Afrexim Bank loan that Ghana has gone for...
That's $750 million.
About $750 million. About $140 million is supposed to go into the infrastructure for the Africa Games. The ministry, they have a timeline of, say, getting the facilities ready by February 2023, but that is not clear. At this point, the concerns are that if you had 2 or 3 clear years to be able to put together some facilities for the games, and at this point, you've still not been able to have them running, it is basically impossible for you to have the facilities to be ready for the Africa Games 2023. So, there are people who fear that Ghana might lose the right to hold the championship. The AU has been here. There are also some concerns too that go beyond the facilities. The AU also have issues because Ghana have been given the marketing rights to the Africa Games. They were called into a meeting. They refused to attend the meeting.
Ghana did not go for that meeting.
No, it was the AU that did not show up for the meeting.
Okay.
Because it's the AU, they feel that they need to have some representatives on the... It's just like you organizing football, the African Cup of Nations, and CAF do not have representatives. So that is where all the concerns are. So the president had to step in, wrote to the AU. They're expected to hold another meeting in September. Hopefully, if they are able to iron out the differences they've got, maybe we could be able to host it. But at this point, it appears near impossible.
Wow, very, very sad development there. And I'm told that there will be a broader discussion on this.
Yeah, we're going to have a very extensive conversation on it. We are linking up with all the various stakeholders that are involved in the Africa Games, and they'll be giving us some more details. All
right, thank you very much. And on that note, we wrap up this bulletin. There's more news on myjoyonline.com. My name is Samuel Kojo. Do enjoy the rest of your morning. Good.